Signals from the silent galaxy. The universe is full of stars, planets, and dark spaces where no light travels. Astronomers call these empty regions silent zones. These zones do not show any radio waves, no star births, no explosions, and no movement of matter. They are completely quiet, like they do not exist at all. For many years, humans believed these silent regions were simply empty. But that belief changed when the Deep Space Listening Array detected the first faint pulse. It came from a galaxy that had been silent for millions of years. This galaxy was known as NGC-0, the Silent Galaxy. And the signal that arrived from it changed everything. The story begins at the International Space Observatory, built on a lonely desert plateau. The observatory was home to the largest listening system ever created, the Horizon Array, a collection of hundreds of dishes connected like one giant ear pointed at the universe. Inside the control room, Dr. Myra Harlan, a calm and focused astrophysicist, watched the screens as she drank her morning tea. The monitors usually showed nothing but lines of static. Today, they showed something else. A spike. A pulse. A rhythm. One small wave on the graph rose higher than all the others. Myra blinked twice. Maybe it was an error. Maybe one of the dishes was malfunctioning. She typed a command and recalibrated the system. The spike remained. A second pulse followed. Then another. Each pulse had the same shape and the same strength. Myra leaned closer. "This is impossible," she whispered. The silent galaxy had spoken. Within an hour, the research team arrived. The control room filled with footsteps, murmurs, and rushed excitement. Screens flickered as more systems locked onto the signal. Dr. Elias Ward, an expert in cosmic patterns, studied the waveforms. He frowned. "These aren't natural. These waves have structure." Commander Rhea Solis, head of the observatory's security division, crossed her arms. "Are you saying this could be artificial?" Elias nodded slowly. "I'm saying this looks like a message." Everyone stared at the screen. A repeating sequence appeared. Long pulse, short pulse, long pulse, short pulse. The rhythm repeated every 11 seconds. "That's not random," Myra said. "Someone is sending this." Rhea stepped forward. "But from where?" "That galaxy has been silent for as long as we've observed it." Elias replied. "Maybe it was never silent. Maybe it was just waiting." The team spent hours analyzing the pulses. They converted them into graphs, tones, binary codes, and even light flashes. But the meaning did not reveal itself. After dozens of tests, Myra noticed something unusual. She said softly, "The pauses between pulses, they match the frequency of hydrogen." Elias looked shocked. "Hydrogen coding? That's the universal base for communication attempts from advanced civilizations." Rhea stepped closer. "You mean, this could be meant for us?" Myra nodded. "Or for anyone who could understand the basic language of the universe." She replayed the signal and converted it into hydrogen-based binary. A new pattern appeared. A curve. A spiral. "It's a coordinate," Elias said. "They are directing us somewhere." "But where?" Rhea asked. Myra zoomed out the graph. The coordinate pointed directly at the center of the silent galaxy. Not at a star. Not at a planet. But at a void, a perfect circle where nothing existed. The galaxy was sending them into emptiness. The United Earth Council received the report. They spent days debating whether the signal was a danger or an opportunity. In the end, they approved the mission. Humans would travel to the silent galaxy. A ship was prepared, the Starfinder, designed for deep space journeys beyond known regions. It carried advanced scanners, AI navigation, and a small crew of specialists. The chosen crew members were Dr. Myra Harlan, astrophysicist and mission lead; Dr. Elias Ward, decoding and signals expert; Commander Rhea Solis, security chief; pilot Jalen Kruss, one of the best deep space navigators; AI Unit Orion 7, the ship's intelligence system. The mission would take years, even with the fastest engines. The crew prepared for isolation, uncertainty, and the unknown. The launch day was calm. A pale blue dawn hung over the horizon as the Starfinder rested on its platform. Crowds gathered miles away, watching through screens as the engines warmed. Inside the ship, Myra looked at her crew. "This may be the most important journey humanity has ever made," she said. "We don't know what we'll find. But we are ready." Jalen checked the flight controls. "Engines are steady. Systems green." Rhea secured her suit. If something out there sent a message, we'll find them. Elias stared at the data tablet. Or we'll find out why everything in that galaxy is silent. The engines roared. Light burst beneath the platform. The Starfinder rose, shaking the air, climbing higher and higher until it disappeared into the sky. Humanity's search for the truth had begun. Space stretched endlessly around the ship. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The crew adapted to the silence of deep space. The stars drifted by like slow-moving lanterns. Orion 7, the ship's AI, updated them daily. Trajectory stable. Estimated arrival to Silent Galaxy in 14 months. During the journey, Elias continued analyzing the signal. One day, he rushed into the main deck. Everyone, listen. The signal changed. Myra turned from her console. What do you mean? It updated. The pattern added a new sequence, like it's responding to our movement. Rhea frowned. But how would they know we launched? Orion 7 answered calmly. The signal altered exactly 12 hours after our departure from Earth. Almost like it knows we're coming, Myra whispered. The ship fell silent. After more long months, the ship approached the borders of the Silent Galaxy. It was unlike anything they had seen. Other galaxies glittered with stars and gas clouds, but NGC-0 looked like a black hole had swallowed all sound and motion. Jalen slowed the engines. Crossing into the silent zone. The moment they entered, all external sound monitors went dead. No radiation. No waves. No cosmic noise. Just a blanket of perfect stillness. It really is silent, Elias said, almost breathless. Orion 7 reported, sensors are struggling. The energy levels here do not match known physics. Myra stared into the dark void ahead. This place should not exist. Rhea whispered, then why is someone sending signals from it? The crew followed the coordinate from the original message. Hours later, they reached the location. There was nothing there. No planet. No star. Just a sphere of complete darkness, like a hole cut out of space. Jalen checked the readings. This void absorbs everything. Even light bends away from it. Myra said, but the signal comes from right here. Elias analyzed the void. After a few moments, his eyes widened. It's not just a void. It's a structure. Something artificial. Rhea gripped her seat. A megastructure. Myra nodded slowly. A megastructure bigger than a solar system. They had found the source of the signals. Or someone. Or something. Had wanted to be found. The Starfinder hovered before the enormous void. Its surface looked like a perfectly smooth sphere of shadow. There was no texture, no edge, no hint of what lay inside. It simply absorbed all light, all energy, all signals. Myra stared at it carefully. This is not a natural formation. Someone built this. Jalen adjusted the ship's position. It's like a shell. A dark shell around something. Orion 7 scanned repeatedly. No known material matches this absorption pattern. This is beyond current technology. Rhea tightened her gloves. If someone built this, they didn't want anything getting in or out. Elias added softly, except the signal. They wanted that to reach us. The ship remained still as the crew studied the structure. The silence around the galaxy felt heavier near the shell. No vibrations. No cosmic dust. No stray particles. Just cold emptiness. Myra finally spoke. We need to get inside. Rhea turned to her sharply. Inside? We don't even know what's in there. Myra replied, that's exactly why we came. Orion 7 interrupted. Energy spike detected on the sphere's surface. The team looked out the viewing window. A small circle of the dark shell began glowing faintly, like a door warming to life. The glow widened into a ring, and the center of the ring melted away silently. A tunnel opened. Jalen swallowed. It's inviting us in. Rhea raised her weapon instinctively. Or it's a trap. Elias stared in amazement. It opened exactly when we arrived. It was waiting for us. Myra steadied her voice. Proceed slowly. The Starfinder drifted forward into the tunnel. The walls were smooth and dark, like flowing liquid metal frozen in time. Inside the tunnel, their navigation lights flickered but stayed on. Orion 7 said. The entrance is reconfiguring behind us. Jalen turned. The opening was closing again, quietly, completely.
They were now sealed inside.
After several minutes, the tunnel ended. The ship drifted into a colossal space, so vast that their lights could not touch the walls.
The crew stared in astonishment.
"It's a hollow galaxy," Elias whispered. They were inside the sphere, but there were no stars, no systems, no dust. It was like standing in the center of a universe that had been emptied.
But then something else appeared. A tiny point of light in the distance. Myra pointed. "There."
That must be the source. The single light pulsed like a heartbeat, weak and slow. The pulses were the same rhythm as the signal received on Earth.
Jalen began steering toward it.
"It's alone, like the last star in a dead world."
Rhea watched cautiously.
"No defenses?
No movement?
Strange."
Orion 7 analyzed endlessly.
No danger detected. But energy readings ahead are unlike anything recorded. As they approached, the point grew larger until they realized it wasn't a star, it was a structure. A floating cube of shimmering metallic surfaces. Each side perfectly aligned. Each corner glowing faintly as it pulsed the signal. "The beacon," Myra said softly. "It's a cosmic transmitter." The cube hovered silently. Panels shifted on its surface like breathing metal, expanding and contracting with every pulse.
It looked ancient and advanced at the same time.
Elias examined the waves.
"The beacon is alive."
"It's responding to stimuli." Jalen looked amazed. "Do we dock?
"Land on it."
"What's the plan?" Before anyone could decide, the beacon reacted. Its panels slid open, revealing a circular port. A beam of soft white light extended from the port toward the starfinder. Rhea drew her weapon. "Is it scanning us?" Orion 7 confirmed.
"Yes. The beam is harmless.
"It is analyzing our structure and biosigns." Myra breathed deeply. "It's deciding whether to communicate." After a few long seconds, the beam changed color to pale blue. The beacon stopped pulsing. Instead, it emitted a steady signal into the ship.
A voice. Not human. Not alien. Not any known language.
But Orion 7 immediately began translating.
The voice spoke.
"We are the last memory."
The crew froze.
"We are the echo of a civilization erased. If you hear this, you have entered the silent galaxy.
You seek answers.
We will give them." Myra whispered. They knew someone would come eventually. Elias' voice trembled. "A whole civilization, erased."
Rhea lowered her weapon slowly.
"By what?" The beacon continued. "We did not fall by war, nor disease, nor decay. We fell by silence." The voice from the beacon deepened, and images appeared around the starfinder, light projections forming vast holograms in the empty space. The crew saw a galaxy full of bright civilizations, cities on floating islands, planets woven with networks of energy, starships moving like flocks of birds. The voice narrated. "We were the makers of resonance. Our worlds lived through vibration. Sound, waves, frequencies, we shaped them, and they shaped us." Elias whispered. "They communicated through energy harmonics."
The hologram shifted. Everything began slowing. Stars dimmed. Planets cracked. Ships froze mid-flight.
A wave of darkness seeped from the galaxy's center. The silence spread.
It devoured sound. It devoured energy. It devoured life.
The hologram showed civilizations trying to fight the silence, building shields, sending fleets, creating protective structures.
None survived.
"We built the shell to contain the silence.
We built the beacon to warn others.
We sacrificed our existence so that the silence would not escape." The images faded. Only the beacon remained glowing softly. Myra spoke slowly. "So the entire galaxy is a tomb and a prison."
Elias nodded in fear.
"And that void we entered, it's the containment shell." Rhea asked, "Then why call us?"
The beacon responded.
"Because the silence has awakened." The beacon suddenly emitted a loud pulse.
The starfinder shook.
Orion 7 alerted. "Unknown wave incoming from deep inside the void."
Jalen held the controls tight.
"What is it?" Elias checked the scanner. His face turned pale. "The frequency, it matches the silence." A wave of absolute blackness spread across the inside of the shell.
No light. No energy. Just a crawling, expanding void.
Rhea shouted, "It's moving toward us."
Myra stepped forward.
"Beacon, what do we do?"
The voice answered.
"You must leave." The silence has detected your presence. If it reaches the shell's edge, it will breach and spread.
The crew realized the horror.
Their entrance had awakened it.
Their presence had stirred it again.
Myra whispered, "We may have doomed everything."
The beacon pulsed urgently. There is one hope. A core device lies at the galaxy's heart. You must reactivate it.
Rhea asked sharply, "To stop the silence?"
The answer came.
"To erase it." The wave of darkness grew. The mission was no longer exploration. It was survival. The crew gathered around the Starfinder's main console. The pulse from the beacon was steady, but the growing darkness outside made every second urgent. Myra's voice was firm. "We have one chance. The beacon says the core device is at the heart of the silent galaxy. We need to reach it before the silence breaches the shell."
Jalen leaned back in his chair. "How do we even get there?"
"This place doesn't obey normal physics." Elias tapped on his console. The energy readings suggest a central nexus, a point of immense gravitational and energetic force. If the beacon is right, that's where the device is.
Rhea folded her arms.
"And the silence?"
"It's spreading fast."
"How do we survive it long enough to get there?"
Orion 7 spoke calmly.
"Based on calculations, the fastest route to the core is through the tunnels formed inside the shell. However, the tunnels are unstable and will collapse if the silence reaches them."
Myra nodded. "We have no choice. We move now."
"Everyone prepare for immediate departure. Jalen, take us in."
Jalen pressed his controls. Course plotted. "Buckle up, everyone.
This is going to be rough." The Starfinder plunged into a narrow tunnel within the shell. The walls pulsed faintly, like veins, and shadows seemed to creep along the surface. The crew remained silent, each lost in thought.
Rhea spoke quietly.
"Does anyone else feel watched?" Elias didn't look up.
"It's not watching. It's sensing."
"The silence knows we're here." A shudder ran through the ship as part of the tunnel collapsed behind them. Jalen gritted his teeth.
"Tunnel collapsing."
"Orion, shield the rear hull."
The Eye's voice was steady. "Shields activated.
Structural integrity at 92%. Myra glanced at the map displayed by Orion 7. "We're halfway to the nexus. We have to keep moving, no matter what." Outside, the darkness of the silence grew, creeping along the edges of the tunnel like liquid shadow. Elias whispered, "If it reaches us here, we might not even know it." Suddenly, the Starfinder's sensors screamed.
Orion 7 alerted. Multiple energy fluctuations detected. Object approaching at high speed. Through the viewing window, the crew saw shapes forming from the darkness. Twisting, shadow-like entities that moved with unnatural speed. They were part of the silence, creatures of pure void. Rhea raised her weapon. "They're attacking." Jalen maneuvered the ship, dodging the entities. "They're faster than anything I've ever seen." Elias studied the readings. "They're reacting to our energy output. The more we resist, the more aggressive they become." Myra clenched her fists. "Then we don't fight. We evade. Stay in the tunnel, it limits their movement." The Starfinder darted through a narrowing passage. The shadows struck the walls with soundless force, causing tremors in the hull. Orion 7 reported. "Hull integrity dropping. Shields at maximum. Recommend immediate speed increase." Jalen pushed the engines. "Hang on." The Starfinder surged forward, escaping the first wave. But everyone knew it would not be the last. Hours later, the tunnel opened into a vast chamber. At its center hovered a device unlike anything the crew had ever seen. It was a sphere of energy, swirling with every color imaginable. It emitted waves that pushed back the darkness at the edges of the chamber. Myra whispered, "That must be the core device. It's beautiful." Elias stepped closer to his console. "The energy readings are off the charts. This is the power that can erase the silence." Rhea raised her weapon cautiously. "Then why hasn't it activated already?" Orion 7 responded. "The device requires manual activation. It can only be activated by those outside the silence, beings who can make choices." Myra approached the device. "If we activate it, it may destroy the silence, but it could also destabilize the shell. We might not make it out alive." Elias nodded grimly. We're the only chance for this galaxy. There's no one else left. The silence roared from the edges of the chamber. Its tendrils stretched across the walls, slowly creeping closer to the device. Rhea shouted, "Myra, hurry!" Myra reached out and touched the sphere. Energy surged into her hands, sending sparks of light throughout the chamber. The core device reacted to her presence, beginning a resonance that echoed through the shell. Elias watched the readings climb. The energy, it synchronizing with her neural patterns. Jalen turned to Rhea. "What about us? Are we trapped here?" Rhea gritted her teeth. "Not if we help her stabilize the connection. Hold the ship steady." Orion 7 began coordinating the Starfinder's systems to channel energy safely. Lights flashed, and the Starfinder hummed in perfect harmony with the core device. The silence shrieked as pulses of energy tore through it. Shadows dissolved, breaking apart into nothingness. Myra's voice rang out, strong yet strained. "It's working. Keep it steady." The crew worked together, guiding the energy from the ship into the device. Finally, the chamber shook violently. The silence let out one last echoing cry before vanishing completely. Silence returned. But this time, it was a true calm. The core device floated silently, now dormant. The shell remained, but the galaxy beyond it began to glow faintly. Stars flickered back to life. Myra breathed deeply, exhausted. "We did it. The silence, it's gone." Elias looked out at the galaxy. "We gave this galaxy back its life, even if no one remains to see it." Rhea leaned back in her chair. "And we're alive. Somehow, we're alive." Orion 7 confirmed. "All systems stable. Course can be plotted back to Earth." Jalen smiled faintly. "Then let's go home." The crew took one last look at the silent galaxy, now quietly shimmering with the reborn light of stars. They had faced the unknown, survived, and preserved the last memory of an entire civilization. Myra whispered softly, "The universe speaks in ways we cannot always understand. But sometimes, we can listen, and we can answer." The Starfinder activated its engines and departed the silent galaxy, leaving the beacon and core device behind. But the echo of their mission would remain forever. The Starfinder left the silent galaxy behind, moving through empty space. The crew was silent, each lost in their own thoughts after the ordeal. Jalen broke the quiet. "I still can't believe we made it out alive." Myra nodded, staring at the starfield ahead. The silence, it was unlike anything we've ever imagined. A void that consumes existence itself. Elias shook his head slowly. "And the galaxy, all that life, erased. It's terrifying to think how fragile civilizations are." Rhea leaned back in her seat. "But we gave it back its chance. Even if no one is left, the stars are alive again." Orion 7 interrupted with its calm voice. "Estimating Earth arrival in approximately 22 months. Course plotted along safest gravitational paths." Myra smiled faintly. "Long journey, but at least we're heading home. Still, something tells me this isn't the end." Elias frowned. "You think the silence could return?" Myra shook her head. "I don't know. But I feel like we were meant to learn something from this. A message beyond just survival." Weeks into the journey, the Starfinder's sensors detected faint signals. They were not from the silent galaxy, but from distant stars along their path. Elias tapped the console, astonished. These signals, they're patterned. Similar to the beacon, but different. Rhea looked worried. "Are we being followed?" Orion 7 analyzed the data. "Unlikely. These signals are not hostile. They resemble communication attempts using harmonic resonance, possibly messages from civilizations aware of the silence." Myra frowned. "Do you mean other civilizations might have experienced similar threats?" Elias nodded slowly. "It's possible. Maybe the universe is full of silent zones, and the silence isn't unique. Perhaps other galaxies have fought it before, or failed." Jalen whistled softly. "So our mission, it might have been part of a much larger story." Myra nodded, staring at the incoming signals. Yes, the universe is speaking again. And we've learned to listen. The Starfinder drifted closer to one of the signal sources, a small, faintly glowing star system. Unlike the silent galaxy, this system had signs of life, energy pulses, faint structures on planets, and echoes of communication. Elias examined the readings. Life is here, but it's fragile. They may not realize the danger they face. Rhea crossed her arms. So we warn them. What can we even do? Myra's voice was calm. We show them how to protect themselves. If the silence is not unique, then knowledge is the key. We survived because we understood the patterns and the warning. Orion 7 confirmed. Analysis indicates that harmonic resonance can act as a defense mechanism. Early intervention may prevent planetary-scale erasure. Elias whispered. We became the messengers, like the beacon wanted. Myra nodded. Yes. The silent galaxy gave us a gift, a warning, and a responsibility. Weeks passed as the crew transmitted signals to other star systems. They guided civilizations toward stability, teaching them how to use harmonic resonance to defend against destructive voids. Myra reflected quietly in her cabin. The universe is alive in ways we never imagined. Every civilization leaves echoes, signals, and warnings. The silent galaxy was not just a disaster, it was a teacher. Elias added. And humanity. We've grown because of it. We've faced the unknown, and we've survived. Rhea smiled faintly. And maybe one day, we'll encounter another threat. But now we have the knowledge to face it. Jalen, piloting the Starfinder, glanced at the stars. I never thought silence could teach so much. It's beautiful, in a strange way. Myra looked out of the window. Yes. Silence can speak, if we learn to listen. Finally, after nearly 2 years, Earth came into view. Blue oceans, green continents, and golden sunlight stretched across the horizon. Humanity waited for the return of the Starfinder's crew, unaware of the cosmic danger they had helped prevent. Myra stepped onto the landing platform. The universe is larger than we can imagine. And our work is just beginning. Elias smiled, looking at the crowd cheering their return. We've seen what happens when civilizations ignore silence. We've learned to pay attention. Rhea folded her arms, satisfied. And we survived to tell the story. Jalen grinned. Next mission, hopefully with fewer shadows. Orion 7 added. The universe is always full of signals, waiting for someone to listen. We are that someone now. The team looked up at the sky, knowing that the silent galaxy would continue to shine in memory, a reminder that silence itself can speak louder than any sound. That night, Myra recorded her personal log. The silent galaxy taught us something fundamental. Life, civilization, and even existence itself are fragile. Silence is not empty. Silence contains memory, history, and warnings. We survived because we listened, and we acted. The universe will continue to send signals. Some will be gentle whispers, others will be desperate cries. We must listen, understand, and protect. Because the echoes of the past can guide the future. And the silent galaxy will always remind us that even in the deepest silence, life can leave a signal. If we are willing to hear it. She ended the log, staring at the stars above. Somewhere, far away, the silent galaxy pulsed softly, waiting for the next listener. Months after returning to Earth, the crew had resumed their normal lives, but the universe was far from quiet. Myra was analyzing deep space signals late one night when something caught her attention. Orion, check the latest readings from the silent galaxy's coordinates. Orion 7 replied. Coordinates stable. Core device active. But, new energy fluctuations detected near the shell's edge. Myra frowned. That shouldn't be happening. The silence was erased. Elias joined her, studying the readings. The patterns, they're like the original silence, but weaker. It's trying to reform. Rhea's voice came over comms. Meaning it survived. Somehow. Myra nodded grimly. Yes. The silence is not gone. We only delayed it. And now, it's learning. Jalen, walking into the lab, shook his head. So the galaxy we saved is still in danger. Myra replied softly, yes. And this time, Earth may not be safe either. Suddenly, the monitors flashed. A signal appeared, clear, structured, and deliberate. Elias gasped. It's not the silence. This is someone else. The signal formed a repeating message. Help US. The silence returns. Myra's eyes widened. It's coming from another galaxy. Another civilization, alive, but threatened by the same silence we fought. Rhea crossed her arms, resolute. So it's happening elsewhere. We can't ignore it. Jalen added. This means the silence isn't unique. It could be a universal threat, moving from galaxy to galaxy. Orion 7 calculated the trajectory. The wavefront of the silence is expanding at an unpredictable rate. Earth may be in danger within decades if left unchecked. Myra looked at the team, determination in her eyes. We thought our mission was over, but it was only the beginning. The United Earth Council convened an emergency meeting. Myra presented the findings. The silence is not a single event. It's a universal phenomenon. We delayed it in the silent galaxy, but it is capable of spreading. And other civilizations are already affected. Elias added. We must act quickly. We have knowledge of the harmonic resonance method to fight it. But we need resources, ships, and allies. Rhea stood tall. We survived once. We can do it again. But this time, we need more than one ship. We need a fleet. Jalen smirked slightly. Sounds like a galactic road trip, huh? Myra smiled faintly. Yes. A dangerous road trip. But one we must take. The Council approved the mission. The Starfinder would be retrofitted for long-range travel, and additional ships would be built to assist other civilizations threatened by the silence. As the team prepared, messages arrived from other civilizations. Some faint, some urgent, all asking for help. Elias analyzed one from a distant star cluster. They're using harmonic resonance too. But they're failing. The silence is stronger than they anticipated. Myra nodded. We can teach them what we learned. Together, we can coordinate a defense. The universe itself may depend on our cooperation. Rhea added. This will be the largest alliance humanity has ever participated in. Not just for survival, but for knowledge and preservation of life across galaxies. Jalen smirked again. Galactic diplomacy, with a side of survival. Sounds like fun. Orion 7 displayed simulations of combined fleets and resonance patterns. Coordinated deployment of harmonic resonance can contain the silence temporarily, but long-term strategy requires activation of multiple core devices across affected galaxies. Myra whispered. We're not just explorers anymore. We're guardians. The Starfinder, now part of a small fleet, approached the coordinates of the next affected galaxy. As they entered the system, they saw shadows forming again. The silence, weaker than before but still terrifying, spread across the stars. Rhea gritted her teeth. There it is. We can see it forming. Elias scanned furiously. The harmonic patterns are different. It adapts. Every time we fight it, it changes. Myra nodded. Yes. The silence is evolving. We have to be smarter this time. Faster. The fleet coordinated with distant civilizations via harmonic resonance. Pulses of energy rippled through space, temporarily slowing the spread of the silence. But it wasn't enough. The void reached toward a planet, consuming the light and matter. Rhea shouted. We need the core device here. Now. The fleet redirected its energy to a central node, combining resonance and technology. Slowly, the darkness receded, leaving the system intact, though barely. Jalen exhaled sharply. That was close. Too close. Myra stared at the stars, realizing the battle was far from over. The silence will keep coming. And each time, it will learn. After the battle, Myra recorded a log. The silence is not just a threat, it is a lesson. Life is fragile, and the universe is alive in ways we barely understand. Every civilization must listen to the signals, learn from the past, and act together. Alone, none of us can survive it. Together, we stand a chance. Elias added. We faced it once, and we survived. Now we know the scale of the fight. The silent galaxy was only the beginning. The universe is sending signals everywhere. We must answer them all. Rhea tightened her grip on her weapon. We protect life wherever it exists. No silence will erase what we fight to save. Jalen smirked faintly. Then let's get to work. The universe won't wait. Orion 7 added. Preparedness is survival. Unity is strength. The next signals are already on their way. Myra looked out at the endless stars. The silence has awakened. And now, so have we. The Starfinder fleet now operated as part of a growing coalition of civilizations. Each species had its own technology and understanding of harmonic resonance, but coordination was difficult. Myra stood on the bridge of the Starfinder, studying a holographic map of galaxies affected by the silence. The silence spreads in waves, she explained to the Council of Allied Commanders. Every galaxy it touches weakens life and absorbs energy. We can delay it with harmonic resonance, but long-term containment requires activation of multiple core devices. Elias pointed to a distant cluster of stars. If we synchronize the resonance from here, and from the silent galaxy, and from the outer clusters, we might create a containment field strong enough to halt the spread temporarily. Rhea frowned. Temporarily? How long do we have? Orion 7 calculated rapidly. Based on current velocity and adaptation rate, the silence could breach multiple galaxies within 50 standard years if not controlled. Myra nodded grimly. Then we must act fast. Deployment of devices and coordination of civilizations is our only hope. The fleet approached a cluster of galaxies already showing signs of absorption by the silence. Shadow-like tendrils stretched from galaxy to galaxy, consuming stars like devouring fingers. Rhea tightened her grip on the console. It's moving faster than we anticipated. Jalen adjusted the Starfinder's trajectory. Orion, synchronize the harmonic emitters. Prepare for maximum output. The fleet activated resonance waves. Pulses of energy expanded outward, slowing the advance of the silence. Elias monitored the readings. It's working, but just barely. The silence is adapting to our frequencies. Suddenly, one of the outer ships was swallowed by the void, leaving only a brief flash of static on the communications channel. Rhea shouted. They're gone. The silence just consumed them. Myra clenched her fists. Focus. Every second we hesitate, more life is lost. Keep the resonance synchronized. The fleet pressed on, waves of harmonic energy clashing against the growing darkness. As the fleet moved deeper, Myra received a new signal. Unknown origin, Orion 7 noted. It's structured and directed at our location. A new ship materialized from a neighboring galaxy. Its design was alien, sleek, and seemingly made of light itself. A voice came through, translated by Orion 7. We are the Luminara. We have fought the silence in our home systems. We can help you. Myra nodded, relief visible in her eyes. Welcome. We need every ally we can find. Elias studied the Luminara technology. Their resonance systems are highly advanced. We can integrate them with our fleet for stronger pulses. Rhea added. This is exactly what we needed. More firepower, more coordination. The Luminara joined the formation, sending harmonic waves in perfect synchronization with the Starfinder fleet. The combined energy began to push the silence back for the first time in decades. The silence recoiled but then shifted. It began generating shadow-like extensions that moved independently, attacking ships and attempting to disrupt the resonance network. Jalen shouted. Orion, shields at maximum. We're taking hits. One of the Starfinder's hull panels splintered under the force of the darkness. Rhea barked commands. Fire counter-resonance. Protect the fleet. Elias realized something crucial. The silence isn't just destructive. It's intelligent. It adapts to our frequency patterns. We need dynamic resonance, changing patterns constantly to confuse it. Myra nodded. Then we evolve the signals. Constantly shift harmonics. Make it impossible for the silence to lock onto a single frequency. The fleet executed her plan. Pulses shifted, intertwined, and amplified. The silence shrieked, a soundless cry of pure void, then recoiled. For the first time, the coalition felt hope. Even as the silence retreated, the damage was clear. Entire star systems had been erased. Ships were lost. Lives were gone. Rhea stared at the star map. We've slowed it, but at what cost? Elias spoke softly. This is only the beginning. The silence will return. And it will be stronger each time. Myra closed her eyes, thinking of the silent galaxy and the civilizations erased before them. We've learned something important. To fight the silence, we must be prepared for long-term struggle. Not just temporary victories. This is a war of endurance. Jalen gritted his teeth. And every victory will demand sacrifices. Orion 7 added calmly. Analysis suggests that synchronization across galaxies and civilizations is the only sustainable method. Centralized control is impossible. Distributed coordination is necessary. Myra nodded. Then we must build a network, a galactic alliance ready to respond anywhere the silence appears. Despite the destruction, small victories emerged. Several civilizations saved by the fleet began rebuilding. Energy networks repaired, planets stabilized, and stars reignited. Elias smiled faintly. Look at them. Life returns. Even here, hope survives. Rhea added. And that's why we fight. Not just to survive, but to preserve the beauty of existence itself. Myra turned to the crew. The silent galaxy taught us a lesson. The universe is alive, and life is fragile. But it also taught us that listening, understanding, and unity can overcome even the darkest threats. Jalen nodded. So we keep moving. Keep listening. Keep fighting. Orion 7 projected a final message for the fleet. Preparedness. Cooperation. Adaptation. These are our weapons against the silence. Myra looked at the stars ahead, now tinged with faint light. The silence may never be fully gone. But we are awake. And as long as we listen, we will respond. Months after the coalition's first victory, sensors detected a massive surge of darkness approaching a cluster of galaxies. Orion 7 reported. The silence is consolidating. It has grown more complex and intelligent. Its expansion rate has doubled. Myra's jaw tightened. It's learning from every encounter. This is the final test. We cannot hold it off forever, we must confront it at its source. Rhea crossed her arms, eyes fierce. Then we go to the heart of the silence. We end this once and for all. Elias nodded, scanning the data. The silent galaxy's core device delayed it before. If we combine that power with the newly integrated devices across the fleet, we might destroy it entirely. Jalen adjusted the Starfinder's trajectory. Final approach. Everyone ready for the storm of a lifetime. Myra took a deep breath. Ready. Let's finish this. The fleet entered the central void where the silence originated. The space around them twisted, warping light and gravity. Shadows stretched like living tendrils, attempting to consume the ships. Rhea shouted. Maintain formation. Protect the core device ships. Elias monitored resonance patterns. The silence is trying to isolate each node. If it succeeds, it will overwhelm us. Myra focused on the Starfinder's console. Then we create a new network. Dynamic resonance loops, every ship sending adaptive pulses in real time. Orion, coordinate. Orion 7's voice was calm but precise. Adaptive resonance deployed. Calculating optimal frequency shifts for maximum containment. The fleet surged forward. Energy waves collided with the silence, shredding the void in streaks of light. But the darkness reformed faster than ever, attacking from multiple directions simultaneously. Jalen gritted his teeth. Hold steady. Don't let it disrupt the network. As the fleet pressed on, the Starfinder was struck by a concentrated wave of darkness, forcing the shields to overload. Rhea yelled. Hull integrity critical. We can't withstand another hit. Myra's eyes scanned the resonance readings. There's only one way. We need a direct connection between the Starfinder and the core devices at the Silent Galaxy and outer nodes. I'll stay on the ship and channel the energy personally. Elias protested. Myra, it's too dangerous. You could be consumed. Myra's expression was calm but determined. The universe taught us sacrifice. If I don't do this, billions of lives across galaxies could be erased. I have to try. Orion 7 confirmed the plan. Energy pathway established. Manual activation by human consciousness required. Probability of success, 78%. Rhea tightened her gloves. Then we do it. All of us. We protect her while she channels the energy. Jalen gritted his teeth. Hang on, Myra. We've got your back. Myra linked herself to the core devices through the Starfinder systems. Energy surged through her, spreading along the harmonic network to every allied civilization. The Silence shrieked, reacting violently, tendrils striking ships and nodes. Ships were damaged, and some were lost, but the combined resonance held the darkness at bay. Elias shouted. Keep the network stable. Don't let any node collapse. Rhea fired precision pulses from the Starfinder's defense systems, striking the void in tandem with the resonance waves. The Silence writhed and recoiled, a mass of pure void now illuminated by pulses of harmonic energy. Myra focused her mind, guiding the flow of energy. Sweat ran down her face as the power surged through her. Finally, with a tremendous pulse, the Silence let out one final, soundless scream, and began to collapse inward, absorbed entirely by the harmonic network. The void shrank, twisted, and then vanished. Silence fell, not the destructive silence, but a peaceful, calm quiet. The galaxies were safe. The threat was gone. The fleet regrouped, battered but victorious. Ships drifted among stars, survivors repairing hulls and systems. Rhea exhaled, relief flooding her voice. It's over. We did it. Elias looked at the stars. For the first time in eons, the universe is free of the Silence. Entire civilizations are alive because we fought together. Jalen smirked faintly. And I didn't even spill my coffee this time. Myra smiled, exhausted but satisfied. The universe is vast. And sometimes, silence speaks. We listened, we acted, and we saved countless lives. That is the legacy of the Silent Galaxy. Orion 7 projected a status report. All nodes stable. Harmonic resonance network functioning. Probability of Silence recurrence negligible. Myra nodded, looking out at the stars. The Silence may never fully vanish from memory, but we will always be ready to respond. And life will continue to thrive. Months later, the crew returned to Earth. Humanity celebrated their return, not just as explorers, but as saviors of countless galaxies. Myra recorded her final log. The Silent Galaxy taught us that even in the deepest silence, life leaves a message. And those who listen, understand, and act can change the course of the universe. The Silence was a test, a warning, and a teacher. We survived, not by power alone, but by unity, understanding, and courage. Let this be a reminder: the universe speaks in ways we may not expect. And when it does, we must listen. Elias added quietly, and we will. For every galaxy, for every life, for every signal that reaches us. Rhea placed a hand on Myra's shoulder. We answered the call. And we'll always be ready for the next one. The crew looked up at the night sky, stars shining like beacons of hope. The Silent Galaxy remained in memory, a symbol of courage, unity, and the power of listening. The universe was vast. The Silence had been defeated. And life would continue. The Starfinder glided into Earth's orbit. The planet shone brilliantly beneath them, oceans and continents reflecting the light of the sun. Humanity awaited, unaware of the cosmic threat that had been neutralized. Myra looked out of the window, her mind reflecting on everything they had seen. The silent galaxy, it changed us. Not just as explorers, but as guardians of life itself. Rhea leaned against the console. And now we know that the universe is full of signals, some quiet, some desperate. We've learned to hear them. Elias smiled faintly. We saved entire galaxies. Countless civilizations survived because we listened and acted. That's more than anyone could have hoped for. Jalen smirked, stretching his arms. And I get to tell people I helped save the universe. Not bad for a day's work. Orion 7's voice chimed in with calm precision. All systems stable. The Starfinder is ready for debrief and maintenance. No residual threats detected from the silence. Myra nodded. Good. But this is only the beginning of our responsibility. Knowledge must be shared. Lessons must be taught. The universe is alive, and we are its witnesses. The crew stepped onto the Earth's surface, greeted by crowds and leaders. Humanity celebrated their return, honoring the courage and unity that had saved life across galaxies. Myra addressed the people, her voice steady but filled with emotion. The universe is vast. There are dangers we cannot always see, but there are lessons in every silence. We have learned to listen, to act, and to protect. Let this be a reminder, even the quietest signal can carry the loudest truth. Elias added, every civilization we saved left echoes of life that we may never know. But our actions ensured their survival and their future. That is our legacy. Rhea glanced at Myra and Elias. We fought darkness, and we survived. That courage, that will remain with us forever. Jalen grinned. And if the universe ever tries to scare us again, we know we can handle it. Orion 7 projected a final message. Preparedness, unity, and understanding are the keys to survival. The silent galaxy has left a permanent signal in all of us. We will always be listening. Later, the crew stood atop a quiet hill, looking at the stars. The silent galaxy remained far away, a memory of sacrifice, courage, and hope. Myra whispered softly. The silence was never just a void. It was a teacher. And now we know, the universe always speaks to those who listen. Elias added. Every signal, every pulse, every echo, there is meaning. We must continue to listen and act, for the sake of all life. Rhea's eyes reflected the night sky. And we will. Always. Because we've seen what happens when silence is ignored. Jalen smirked, looking up at the stars. And we'll be ready for whatever comes next. Because life is worth protecting. The crew remained in silence, not the emptiness of the silence they had fought, but the calm of reflection, understanding, and hope. Myra recorded her final log before leaving the observation deck. The silent galaxy sent its message across the void. Life is fragile, yet resilient. Silence is not nothing, it holds memory, warning, and lessons. Those who listen can change the course of existence. We survived, not because the universe gave us a choice, but because we chose to act. We chose to protect life, to understand the unknown, and to unite with others across the stars. The silence may never return, or it may wait beyond another corner of the cosmos. But we are ready. We are listeners. We are responders. And as long as we remember the silent galaxy, as long as we heed its signals, life will continue to thrive. The final scene shows the crew standing together, looking out at the night sky. Far away, the silent galaxy pulses faintly, its message of caution and hope echoing across the cosmos. Myra said quietly, life leaves its signal everywhere, even in the deepest silence. We just need to hear it. Elias added, and now we can answer it. Rhea smiled. Guardians of life, listeners of the universe. Jalen laughed softly. Not a bad title for a galactic adventure. The camera pans out, showing Earth small among countless stars, and beyond, the silent galaxy shining as a reminder. The universe is alive, full of signals, waiting for those willing to listen. The story ends with the crew united, aware that the journey never truly ends, but with hope, courage, and readiness for whatever comes next.